She kept asking the same question repeatedly until Karoline had enough. What happened next shocked everyone in the room. The room was packed, with cameras lined up at the back, all focused on the podium where Karoline Levitt stood confidently. She was used to tough crowds, but today felt different. The air in the Washington, D.C. briefing room was heavy with tension. Karoline adjusted the microphone and began, "Good afternoon, everyone. Let's get started." Hands shot up immediately as journalists eagerly waited to ask their questions. Karoline pointed to a familiar reporter from a major network who asked about the administration's tax cut policy. Karoline answered smoothly, delivering a well-rehearsed response. Another question followed, this time about education reform, which she handled with ease. She had done this countless times before. Stay composed, control the message, and navigate the press like a pro. But then it happened. A sharp voice cut through the room. It was a reporter Karoline knew well, always aggressive, always looking to stir controversy. The reporter leaned forward smirking and asked, "Ms. Levitt, let's talk about the real issue here. Do you think the administration's policies are designed to suppress certain communities?" "The data suggests," Karoline interrupted, holding up a hand. "I've answered that before. The administration is focused on policies that benefit all Americans. If you'd like to discuss today's topic, I'm happy to continue." The reporter pressed on. "You didn't actually answer the question. Can you directly address whether these policies are suppressing marginalized groups?" Karoline remained calm but firm. "I did answer. I'm staying on topic. If you have a question related to today's discussion, I'll answer. If not, I'll move on." But the reporter wouldn't back down. "So that's a no comment?" The room grew tense. Karoline exhaled slowly. "I've answered your question. I'll be moving on now." She pointed to another journalist, but the same voice interrupted again. "Why is it so hard for you to give a straight answer?" A flicker of irritation crossed Karoline's face. She wasn't new to this. She knew the difference between holding her accountable and turning the event into a spectacle. She responded, "I don't believe in wasting anyone's time. If you have a new question, I'll answer. Otherwise, I'd like to give others a chance." The reporter smirked. "New question. Why is this administration so afraid of transparency?" Karoline's grip on the podium tightened. Transparency is exactly what this administration stands for. What you're doing isn't about transparency. It's about theatrics. The reporter leaned back, arms crossed. "So expecting transparency is a game now?" Karoline had had enough. She glanced at security, signaling it was time to intervene. The room tensed as the reporter realized what was happening. "You're seriously doing this?" she asked, her voice sharp. Karoline didn't respond. The security officer stepped forward, and the reporter stood, gathering her things. "This is a disgrace," she muttered, loud enough for the mics to catch. "You can kick me out, but you can't silence the truth." The door closed behind her, and the room fell silent. Karoline took a deep breath and continued the press conference, but the damage was done. Within minutes, the clip went viral and headlines exploded. Karoline Levitt removes reporter for asking tough questions. Karoline knew how this would play out. The reporter had wanted a spectacle, and she got one. By the time Karoline left the podium, her name was trending. Her phone buzzed nonstop as staff members updated her on the fallout. Conservative outlets praised her for standing her ground, while mainstream media painted her as silencing the press. Karoline released the full, unedited footage of the exchange to set the record straight. The title was simple: "Watch for yourself, the full exchange." The video showed the reporter repeatedly interrupting and refusing to move on, despite Karoline's warnings. Some praised Karoline for her professionalism, while others doubled down on the narrative that she was suppressing free speech. The story dominated the news cycle for days. Karoline knew the truth was out there, but she also knew that facts alone wouldn't change everyone's minds. The battle wasn't just about one press conference. It was about the state of media, the blurry line between journalism and activism, and the way narratives were crafted for clicks and outrage. In the end, Karoline released one final statement: "Watch the full video," because at the end of the day, that was all that mattered. The truth, whether people chose to see it or not.